Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new episode of English with Mr. Otañez. Here I have a friend of mine that you already know, Mr. Andrew Lloyd. Andrew, hello. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Thanks for having me
And
back.
yeah, great, great. It's a pleasure for us to have you back. Thanks
It's
for
good to be
sharing
here.
this available time with us.
Yeah, of course. Glad to be here.
Okay, in this new occasion, we're going to talk about the university life. Some people might want to go to United States to a university and study over there, and there are things that you should know when you go to an American university. And since Andrew Lloyd is already there and he's already a student over there, he's studying a major, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yeah, neuroscience. Yeah,
neuroscience, not neurologist, but neuroscience.
yeah.
And he knows a lot about that, and he's taking some subjects, and also he's going through the student process, I would say, where he have to attend classes, be evaluated, and things like that. So let's get started. Let's talk about some useful terms that you should know when going to an American university. The first one is the term undergraduate. Undergraduate. Andrew, can you tell us what an undergraduate is?
Yeah, of course. So, and the funny thing is, even though it's spelled like undergraduate, it's actually pronounced undergraduate, which is it's a
Graduation.
little weird. Yeah,
Okay.
undergraduate. Yeah, so an
Undergraduate. Okay.
undergraduate is basically so in American universities, you have a couple different levels of school, and your undergraduate is kind of your very first level of school. It's usually about 4 years long, and it's what you call a bachelor's degree. So when you're undergraduate, you're seeking to pursue a bachelor's degree, and this is kind of your basic level of telling people that you want to go work for that you are qualified, that you've learned a lot of interesting things, and that you have 4 years worth of skills. So an undergraduate is it's about 4 years long, and it's basically telling jobs in the world that you have this many skills. And yeah, that's what I'm pursuing right now. I'm currently pursuing like I said, like Mr. Ortanya said, a bachelor's degree in neuroscience. And so once I finish with these 4 years, I will have finished my undergraduate degree, and I will be able to continue on to other things afterwards.
Perfect. So it's mean that as soon as I get to university, as soon as I get registered, then I'm an undergraduate.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah, and for me, I'm in my second year of undergraduate studies.
It's your second year.
Yep,
Oh,
I'm a sophomore. That's what
oh,
it's
it's,
called.
it's far. It's very fast. I thought you only had 1 year.
Well, yeah. So I had a year before I came to the Dominican Republic, and then I was gone for two
Okay.
years, and so now I'm in the middle of my second year.
Now I get it. Now I get it. I thought, well, times flies because
Yeah,
he was a year ago here. Now he has 2 years there. Okay, but it makes sense now. You study one
yeah.
year before coming to the Dominican Republic, the university, and then when you finish here, then you went back to United States and you continue your studies.
Mhm.
Good.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's go to the term graduate. So what
Yeah,
is a
perfect.
graduate?
Yeah. So like I said, so the very first level is what we call the undergraduate degree, and then once you finish those first 4 years, then you can continue to pursue a higher education, right? Like undergraduate is already a very high education, but a graduate degree is even higher than that. And so that includes things like, for example, medical school. It can include law school, where you go and become a lawyer. It can include dental school, where you work on people's teeth and things like that. So it's usually also 4 years. In some schools, it's a bit shorter. Like for example, if you want to go to business school, that can sometimes require only 2 or 3 years. Whereas medical school, where you go to become a doctor, is quite difficult and very demanding. And so that's usually 4 years. So that's what's called a graduate degree. So once you graduate from your first 4 years of college, then you go to pursue a graduate degree. And graduate degrees are not mandatory. That's a fancy word in English for saying you
Yeah.
don't have to do them. They're not required, but they are options to continue your learning process. They're options to continue um, amplifying your credentials, essentially showing to other jobs that you may want to apply to, like, now I'm very qualified. Now I know a lot about the subject. And not only do I know a lot about the subject, I can teach people about the subject. I can explain it in very, very, very fine detail. So it's basically taking something that you like and taking it to another level and, learning even more about it so that you can teach it to other people and do research and study about it.
Okay. So here in the Dominican Republic is it's kind of mandatory to have a major and not a major but
Mhm.
a master's degree or to be a graduate student because the thing is that you can have more opportunities and we lack of opportunities here. And since there are a lot of people who are graduate already, so you need to get a higher degree, like a let's say a master's degree. And sometimes some people do a specialization in some areas, but most of the people here usually go for a master's degree program, so they can have
Mhm.
a master's degree.
Yeah, it's
So
complicated, but it is
in the United
interesting.
States, is it the same? I mean, are there a lot of people that go for a graduate classes, or they just
Um,
most of you stop in the major?
it kind of depends. It's a good question. Um, these days, especially where there are a lot of people in the United States, and it's a bit more competitive to get jobs, people will tend to take that path and go try and get a graduate degree. Um, uh, it really does kind of depend. But I know a lot of people who are happy with their undergraduate degree. And a lot of times people don't always go for a graduate degree because they want to start working, right? Especially
Yeah,
people who are my age, who are starting to like not live with their parents anymore and they go live in different places. They want to start working as soon as they possibly can so they can pay for their own house, they can pay their bills, they can pay for food and water and these things and not have to ask their parents for money. The United States is interesting in the sense that people here like to be very independent. So once you're 18, you're kind of expected to leave your parents' home and go start making your own life. And so, yeah, the reason not everybody always pursues a graduate degree is because they are often very focused on just starting to work right away so that they can have a full-time job and start paying for their own things. But a lot of people do pursue graduate degrees. Like my mom and my parents both got graduate degrees. I'm planning on getting a graduate degree. So it kind of depends on the person.
yeah, great. And something that happens here in our country, in the Dominican Republic, is that um, the government supports a lot with financial aid,
Mhm.
and they give a lot of scholarships, so people can get opportunity to pursue a master's degree.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know if that happens in the United States, if you have lots of scholarships over there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so if you guys don't know what the word scholarship means, that I don't know. What's the word in Spanish for scholarship?
Beca is what we call
Beca.
beca.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, a scholarship, yeah, is a beca. And so yeah, it's basically the process of a school or a company or a business or an organization giving you money to help you out with your studies. And yeah, we do have those in the United States. A lot of like the biggest ones were like the biggest scholarships often come from the schools that you're applying to. So if you have really good grades or if you've done really interesting things, you can apply for scholarships. But what most people do is instead of go for like the really, really big ones, a lot of schools and companies and things like that will offer smaller ones, and so they'll try and just pick up a lot of small ones along the way, so it can kind of accumulate into one big scholarship that will help them pay. So it does exist for sure,
Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay,
and
there's
especially
another.
for foreign students too. There's a lot of financial aid available.
Okay, perfect. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And there's another term here. We have two actually, major and minor. Those terms are kind of confusing, especially for people like me who live here in the Dominican Republic, because we usually have, let's say, associate's degree, like let's say it's like a technical, we call it, but it's an associate's degree, and after that we have the bachelor's degree. But what is
Mhm.
the difference between major and minor in terms of the academic program that we want to get, or a degree that we want to get?
Good question. Yeah. So a major is essentially major and degree are kind of the same thing. So a major is what you're studying, right? So for example, for me right now, I am a neuroscience major. My major is learning about how your brain works. And so when I graduate from my with my undergraduate degree, like we were talking about earlier, I
Yep.
will have graduated with a degree in neuroscience. So a major is just the thing that you happen to be studying at the moment. And some people will take multiple majors, right? So if you're really smart and you have a lot of time in your schedule, you can take two majors.
Two. Wow.
Um, yeah, I don't know. People who do that are good for them. um, but yeah, so a major is just the thing that you're studying at the moment. So like I said, for me, I'm studying neuroscience, but you can also be a business major or a psychology major or anything like that. It's just what you happen to be studying. And then there's another one, it's called a minor. And a minor is it's kind of like what you're studying on the side. So your major is the one you're focusing on, right? That's the one you spend a lot of your time and effort in. And a minor is a thing that you can take a few classes here and there. And over the course of the 4 years, all of those few classes that you took every semester will add up and that will give you what's called a minor. And a minor is just, like I said, it's like a secondary thing. It's like Robin for Batman, right? He's
Okay.
cool. He's kind of there. He's nice to have him on the side. And so yeah, so major is like your Batman, and then a minor is like your Robin. It's the thing you have on the side.
Okay. So is it mandatory to go through a minor too? I mean, you can go directly to a major, or you have to get first the minor and then get the major.
Good question. So a minor is optional. It's completely optional. So if you'd like to get a minor, you can. It's something you can put on a job application or you can put on what's called a resume, which is just the thing you send into jobs, but you don't have to get a minor. So for example, for me, my major is neuroscience, but I speak a lot of Spanish. And so if I really, really wanted to, I could get a minor in Spanish just
Okay.
because
Oh,
I'm
nice.
already pretty good at it. I've studied it for a while. And so yeah, if I really wanted to, I could get a minor in Spanish, but if I don't want to, I don't have to. It's just kind of it's like an extra thing to add on to your resume to say I majored in this, but I also worked a little bit in this field, so that makes me interesting.
Okay, perfect. Now I get it.
Yeah.
But let's say that I'm studying at the university there in the United States, and since I know Spanish and I want to get a minor in Spanish, so I can help all the people to learn Spanish since I know
Mhm.
English. So that could serve as an opportunity to get a job quickly, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. It's just
Okay.
yeah, a minor exists to just to branch out a little bit, to add to the thing you're already interested in. It's to kind of show to other jobs and people and think places you'll work in the future that you are well-rounded. And well-rounded in English is just an idea of like, you kind of know different things in different areas, right? Like you have your foot in a lot of camps, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay. You're in a lot of camps. Well,
Yeah.
that's a nice expression over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And let's talk about the other term is tuition.
Tuition. Yeah.
Tuition. Yeah, and what is that? I saw that word a lot when you go to any web page of any
Mhm.
university or college. You see that word tuition. So what is that? How do you define that with your own words?
Yeah, good question. So tuition is essentially what you pay to a college to be able to study at their school. And the interesting thing is a lot of colleges in the United States are private. And so what's different between private school and public school is run by the government. Public school, the government is allowed to decide how much you pay to go there, or if you pay at all, and things like that. Whereas private schools, they are their own thing, they're their own business, their own company, and so they can decide whatever they can do whatever they want. And so tuition is how much you pay to a university to be able to study there. And unfortunately, in the United States, there's a lot of universities are very, very, very expensive. Like the tuition is super, super high. And it's because a lot of them know that people will pay to go there. And so they make the price very, very high. Like for example, in the Dominican Republic, you can usually go to university and pay a tuition. That's pretty good, I would say. Whereas in the United States, it's thousands of dollars, like thousands and thousands and thousands of
Wow.
dollars. And so, which is why things like financial aid, like we kind of mentioned before, are very helpful, or scholarships. And scholarships and financial aid are ways that the universities will help people who don't have as much money to still be able to study at these good schools. So yeah, it depends. Like I said, there's a lot of opportunities for foreign students to get financial aid, or students who come from maybe more humble backgrounds. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So tuition is the amount you pay, and then financial aid is schools and other universities or places like that giving you money so you can pay for your education.
Okay, perfect. So you're studying right now at BYU University, right?
Mhm.
Brigham
Yep.
Young University. So how much do you pay for tuition?
So for me, so BYU is actually an interesting school because it is one of the lowest tuitions in the entire country, but it has a very, very good education. So at BYU, I pay probably about $5,000 a year for tuition, which for to compare with other schools, right? At most other schools, you're paying 35,000, 40,000, $50,000 for
Wow,
one year, only one
for
year of
one
studying.
year.
Yeah. Whereas BYU,
Very-
I'm only paying 5,000, which is, it's still a lot of money, right? $5,000 is quite a bit, but it's a lot cheaper than most of these other schools.
Okay, okay. Let me do the math. Okay, so here in the Dominican Republic, a dollar is 56 pesos.
Yeah,
So you're
56
telling
pesos.
me that in 1 year you pay 5,000 pesos for the whole tuition, the tuition of the whole year, right?
Yeah, $5,000.
And,
Yeah.
and then so that is wow. There is a lot of money here in the Dominican Republic. With that amount of money, you can pay the whole major.
Yep.
Not only 1 year, the 4 years.
Yep.
So that's quite a lot of money. And
It
that's one
is.
of that's one of the most inexpensive, let's say, university. But you said
Yeah,
that
it's probably the
it's cheap, but I mean cheaper comparing to the others. But in
mhm.
terms of quality, it's very high.
Yeah, it's a very good school.
It's a very good school. Okay,
Mhm.
wow, but still, for us, it's a lot of money.
Oh no, for me it's a lot of money. Like even
Oh,
for me, it's a lot
again,
of money. It's expensive.
okay,
It's very expensive. I agree. So
all
yeah,
right,
which is why I said like things like financial aid and scholarships are very important, right? Because it's not fair to only have the rich kids being able to study at school. So that's why these opportunities like scholarships and financial aid will help a lot of people out. And so there's a lot of really good resources and things to people to talk to. And obviously you can learn a lot on the internet, and that usually helps to find out where these things come from. And yeah, so but yeah, definitely it's expensive. It really is very
yeah, it
expensive.
is, it is, it is. I see. And um, talking about your friends, do most of your friends study at university, or some of them decide not to do so? Because I know that for all of them, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be
Mhm.
challenging to to go to university, especially because of the tuition rate.
Mhm.
It's pretty high.
Yeah, it is. So a lot of most of my friends are studying right now. Not all of them. A lot of them decided to take jobs, to go work. It kind of depends on the person.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but what a lot of kids will do is they'll take a job and they'll work for 2 or 3 years, and after a few years they'll have some money. They'll have enough money where they can go start
Okay.
studying for a little bit longer. But the cool thing is, especially in our day and age with so much technology and that being very beneficial, a lot of schools such as BYU, where I'm studying, for example, will have online programs where the tuition is like almost nothing. You barely pay anything at all. So
Okay.
BYU, for example, has a program called BYU Pathways,
Okay.
which is for foreign language students who speak English or whose English is pretty good, and it helps them get a very good education for almost no money at all. And so yeah, there's a lot of online opportunities. There's a lot of online schools, and especially for foreign students as well. Yeah, where you can get a good education and not pay so much in tuition. So like I said, BYU Pathways is a very good example of that. For foreign students who are working on learning English, that's a really good one.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. So I guess that's only for international students. Do the program exist for, I mean, the people who are currently living in the United States, or
It
that?
does. Yeah.
That's okay. I
Yeah.
was-
It's primarily focused on international students, but
okay.
yeah, students who live in the United States can use it as well.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. It's for everybody.
Great. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great help because it's pretty high. I mean, it's pretty expensive. Okay.
Mhm.
Another term, GPA. What is GPA?
Yeah. So a GPA is essentially a number that tells you how good your grades are. So, for example, the highest GPA you can get is a 4.0. That is when you have A's in all your classes. And so your GPA is just calculated based on the grades you've received in your classes, and you kind of put them all together to give it one numerical value.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
pretty simple.
It's like an average of all your scores, let's say, of your
Yep,
grades. So if I
exactly.
get a 90, which is an A 90 in four subjects, so it means that my GPA will be 4, right?
Mhm.
4.0.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. It's similar here to the Dominican Republic. We have a similar way of grading and evaluating, the whole performance of a student.
Yeah.
And another one, transcript. What is transcript?
So yeah, a transcript is essentially it's a sheet, a big piece of paper where it has all your grades from however long you've been at school. So for example, I'm a sophomore. I'm in my second year of school here at the university. So my transcript would be all the classes I took my first year of school, and then all the classes I'm taking right now. So it's just basically like a big piece of paper that shows you all the grades you've received in each class you've taken throughout your time at the university.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Very simple. And finally, the last one. This one, this one even, I think that the word is not even in English, I guess. Syllabus. So
Yeah.
what is a syllabus?
Yeah, that's a difficult word. I remember learning that one. So a syllabus is so a lot of times if you're taking a class at university, the teachers here have been teaching these classes for a long time. And so they kind of do the same thing each time. And so a syllabus is essentially like I said, big piece of paper or many pieces of paper that will kind of explain the class to you before you even take it. So most teachers at the very beginning of the class will give you a syllabus and say, I want you to read this over. And honestly, that's one of the best things you can do to prepare for our class is you read the syllabus because it explains how the teacher likes to grade your tests, how many tests you'll probably have. It'll explain the assignments you'll do and the things that he or she expects from you. It's essentially like outlining their expectations for you throughout the entire class. And so it's really helpful, especially to know when tests are. For me, for example, I'll try and give a little demonstration here. I have a calendar. This is my calendar.
Okay.
And what I like to do is at the very beginning of the year, whenever I'm signing up for classes, I'll look at the syllabus, and then I'll write out all my assignments for that month.
Okay.
So here are all my assignments that I have due. So I'll write out when I have tests, or I'll write when I have papers due. And I know all this because of the syllabus, because it told me before the class started what I needed to expect to do well in that class. So it's a very helpful thing. I would definitely recommend reading your syllabuses.
Perfect. Yeah, that's something that some students don't do here in the Dominican Republic. I mean, the
Yeah.
teacher does give us the, let's say, the syllabus,
Mhm.
and but there's a problem. Sometimes we don't usually read it. Yeah, having a syllabus is very important. I remember that when I studied at university, I used to check that and check everything related to the assignment and the content, and I tried to study in advance so I could, have some knowledge of the content before the teacher would say would give us, all the information.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
it's
would say
very good.
my best recommendation as a current university student is read the syllabus. Like before you start any class, whatever it is, you read the syllabus, and then yeah, if you want to do like I did and get a big calendar just like that and write out all the dates, that'll be very good because your teachers they don't want to trick you.
No,
They're not trying to make you fail, right? They don't want you to do bad. They tell you all these things before the class starts so that when the class actually does start, you know when things are coming and nothing will be a surprise. And you'll know that everything's about to happen, which is very nice. So
okay.
read the syllabus.
Perfect, perfect. So I just have one more question to wrap up.
Yeah.
And it's what kind of advice, what pieces of advice, let's say, can you give to a student who is, for example, let's say I'm an international student and I get the opportunity to study in an American university.
Mhm.
So what are your main pieces of advice that you can give to me?
Yeah, great. That's good. That's a great question. So let's see. The best things I can probably recommend will have to do with organization and we'll have to know with getting to know people at the university. So I'll start with organization because that's the one that I usually have a hard time with. So the idea of organization is important because especially at an American university and at any university around the world, you have a lot of things to do, right? You're taking a lot of classes and you have a lot of people who want things from you. You also want to have a social life and you want to get good sleep and you want to do all these things. So organization is very important. And so what I like to do for organization is I have my backpack here. I don't, but I have a little planner. It's like a little notebook. And in that notebook, I write down when I have tests, I write down what homework I have to do for the day. And a lot of times I'll write down how long I want to spend on each assignment because there's only so many hours in the day. And so if you don't, if you don't know how long you want to spend on one assignment, you might accidentally spend a very long time on one assignment and then
Yeah,
forget you have all these other things to do. So yeah, organization in terms of like writing things down, knowing when tests are, and understanding how long you have to do these assignments will be very helpful. And another thing is I'll give three pieces of advice. The second one is to study in a quiet place. A lot of times, which when I was a freshman, when I was here the first time, I often tried to study at home, which doesn't work because at home you can go get a snack, you can go
yeah, you
eat
got a lot
lunch, you
of
can go talk to your
distractions.
friends, you can do all kinds of things, right? You can look at your phone. So what I always do is I usually take my phone and I put it very, very far away from me, and I go to a very quiet place, usually the library or la biblioteca, and I'll spend a long time there just so I can get my things done. So that's my second recommendation: is get organized, do your homework in a quiet place with few distractions and put your phone away. That's my best idea is just put your phone very far away from you.
Yeah,
And my third piece of advice, especially at American universities, is to ask for help because a lot of these teachers and people who are working at these universities, they want to help you. They're getting paid to help you. It's their job to help you. But the interesting thing about university is, unlike high school or middle school or things like that, it's in your hands to kind of take control of your education. And so a lot of times in earlier years of school, people will say, "Hey, do you need help? Can I help you with this?" Whereas when you're studying in a university, it's kind of up to you to ask for that help. People will give you help if you ask for it, But if you don't ask for it, then nobody's going to know that you need help. So that's my third recommendation is always ask for help. If you have a question about a test or a question about a homework assignment, go meet your teachers, talk to them. They have what are called office hours where you can go and meet with them and go over whatever you want. So yeah, those are my three things is stay organized, put your phone away and study in a quiet place and ask for help as much as you can. And those are my best pieces of advice.
Wow, yeah, great pieces of advice. Great. Uh, Thank you, Brother Loy, Mr. Loy, Andrew. I don't know how to call you anymore. But anyways, Andrew, let's call you Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for those pieces of advice and for the time you're taking to be with us and explain to us this very useful and important topic of how to study in an American university.
Yeah, of
So
course.
thank you for being here again, and have a great day, a great rest of the day, let's say,
You too. Thank you.
and
Bye,
see you, man.
everybody.
Bye. Take care.